Hello everyone and welcome. Today, we are going to break down a fundamental concept in chromatography, how to calculate HETP. HETP stands for height equivalent to a theoretical plate. It sounds complex, but it's just a way to measure the efficiency of your chromatography column. Think of your column as a long staircase. Each step on that staircase represents a theoretical plate, an imaginary point where your sample components can separate. A more efficient column has more, smaller steps packed into the same length. HETP is simply the height of one of those tiny steps. Therefore, a smaller HETP value means a more efficient column and better separation, which is what we always want. The main formula is very simple, HETP equals L divided by N. Here, L is the length of your column, something you can easily measure, usually in millimeters or centimeters. The tricky part is finding N, which is the number of theoretical plates. To calculate N, you need to look at a peak on your chromatogram. The most common and reliable formula for N is N equals 5.54 times the quantity of retention time divided by the peak width at half height, all squared. Let's break that down. First, you need the retention time, or TR. This is simply the time it takes for your compound to travel from the injector to the detector, which you find at the very top of your peak on the chromatogram's time axis. Next, you need the peak width at half height, or WH. To find this, you measure the total height of your peak from the baseline. Then, you go to the halfway point of that height and measure the width of the peak at that specific point. It is very important that your retention time and your peak width are in the same units, for example, both in minutes or both in seconds. Once you have your values for TR and WH, you can calculate N. Now, you have both L and N. The final step is to calculate HETP by dividing the column length, L, by the number of theoretical plates, N. For example, if your column is 250 millimeters long and you calculated N to be 10,000, your HETP would be 250 divided by 10,000, which is 0.025 millimeters. This small number tells you your column is quite efficient. So, to summarize the process, get your chromatogram, find the retention time and peak width at half height for a specific peak, calculate N, and then divide your column length by N to get your HETP. A lower HETP is always better. That's how you can easily quantify and compare the performance of different chromatography columns. Thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you understand HETP, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more tutorials. Your support allows us to keep making educational content for everyone. See you in the next video.